Welcome to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend, the show that's flying up Todd McShay's big board. We've got a fun one for you today. Coming up, he was just announced as a member of the class of 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Six-time All-Pro cornerback Eric Allen joins us. We're going to talk to him about getting that knock on the door, the current Eagles defense, and before he gets a gold jacket, he's going to have to face Cousins' conundrum. It's true, they won't let him into Canton until he answers my asinine final question. Then, from gold jackets to golden arches, Harry, Brother Bry, and Darren the Parlay Kid from Against All Odds joined me. NFL scouts aren't the only ones keeping an eye on the combine the next few days. The D3 and I will give out our best bets. Plus, we've got Oscar winners for you. Yes, we leave no wager untouched on this show. But before any of that, it's time for a segment that tests my reflexes and reactions. It involves our producer, babyface Joel Solomon, throwing a crumpled up piece of paper with a thought written on it. I'll catch it, I'll read it, and I'll tell you my thoughts on the issue. We call this Tossing Topics. All right, fire away, babyface. What do we have? Mock drafts. Okay, buckle up, because from now until April 24th, you are going to see thousands of mock drafts flooding your feeds and being passed around like a joint backstage at a Snoop concert. And I, for one, think it's all too much. Mock drafts have made a mockery of the draft. There used to be just one guy, Mel Kiper Sr., and then he gave birth to Mel Kiper Jr., and that guy made a mock, and now everyone and their mother has a mock draft, and it doesn't stop at one. Oh, here's version 2, version 3, Daniel Jeremiah's 6.0 mock. These experts are pumping out revisions like they're on deadline to write a screenplay. Everyone relax. Outside of the top 5 picks, there's almost no chance a team is drafting who everyone else has penciled in. I'm serious. These gridiron gurus are their own Mr. Irrelevant. Even the best mock drafters predict 8 out of 32 correctly in the first round. That's being generous. 8 out of 32. What other world is 25% accuracy commended? If a meteorologist predicted sunny skies 3 out of 4 days when it ended up torrential rains, the next week he'd be selling hot dogs from a cart on 59th Street. All it takes is one draft day trade to screw up the most thought out mocks. Imagine how inaccurate they are in days 2 and 3. And listen, if we've learned anything from last year, Joe Shane's son is the only person we should be listening to.
Who do you want me to take? Give me a name.
J.J. McCarthy. Jaden Daniels. Trade up and get him. Why not?
Okay, if Jaden Daniels...
We only get this job once. Let's try to win.
But this all just proves how much people love football. We need all these mock drafts in our lives, even though we know they're all BS. As for me, here's my mock 5. I use it to shave my back 3 times a day. It's durable, extremely versatile, works great in space, and has excellent straight line speed. I look forward to the Jets drafting it in the 3rd round. All right, toss me another one, babyface. Good. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, Wemby, Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, what a bummer. San Antonio Spurs superstar Victor Wembanyama is done for the season. He was a minus 2,500 favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year before the Spurs announced his blood clot condition would sideline him for the rest of the year. And, well, of course I had money on that. I'd show you my ticket, but I don't want the gambling commission breaking down my doors. But even though he didn't have enough games played to qualify for the award, some books actually paid out Wemby bettors as winners.
What?
Yes, I find this ridiculous. The rules for betting are pretty easy to follow. If it hits, you get paid, and if it doesn't, you don't, and you go and find someone to blame for giving you bad advice. The consolation payout doesn't take place in everyday life. This is nuts. If you didn't buy a warranty on an ice maker, when it breaks down, you're screwed. The manufacturer isn't sending you a dozen new ice makers. For the record, my wife is still on the phone screaming at a customer service rep. But this is why it's gambling. There's a risk. Wemby is 7'2", 137 pounds. There was a risk this Slim Jim with extra limbs wasn't making it to the finish line. How about this? If you were fortunate enough to get refunded on a Wemby bet or paid out as a winner, do the right thing and donate the money to the American Blood Clot Association. Or, if you're not the charitable type, roll it over on Cooper Flagg at 9-1 odds to get drafted by the Spurs. Maybe there'll be a ping pong ball miscue and you'll get refunded on that one too. All right, last one, babyface. Soto, Beatty, number. Oh, this is good. I'm always happy to talk about the newest New York Mets superstar, number 22, Juan Soto. And I say that because now we know what Soto had to offer teammate Brett Beatty in exchange to wear his number 22. A $92,000 black-on-black Chevy Tahoe with a red bow on the hood. That's right, a hell of an upgrade from the 2016 Toyota 4Runner Beatty had since high school. Soto's contract pays him $765 million. Beatty probably should have held out for a Chevy yacht, but talk about a jersey swap. Buying a number off a player used to cost you, I don't know, like a steak dinner at the Sizzler. Now it involves life-changing luxuries. John Kruk once got 2 cases of beer for Mitch Williams for his number. Hell, when he came to the Yankees to get number 3, Babe Ruth only gave up a box of cigars and a shoehorn. Brett Beatty batted .229 last year, but it turns out his best stat was that number 22 he draped across his back. And for average players, to hold on to coveted jersey numbers is actually a great idea. It's like domain sitting. Whatever genius grabbed pizza.com flipped it for billions. And that's what I think more players should do with their jerseys. Right now, I'm speaking to Mets infielder Mark Vientos. You've got number 27. Sit tight on that jersey because with Vlad Guerrero Jr. being a free agent next summer, you might have a huge payday coming your way. Yes, I'd like to consult players on these, and I only ask for an 88% commission or a single box of Samoa Girl Scout cookies. Either will work. Anyway, congrats, Brett Beatty, and make sure Juan gassed up that truck because you might be driving it back to AAA Syracuse by Easter. All right, that does it for tossing topics. Now it's time for my irrationally angry attempt to make rational sense of a somewhat irrational bet. It's Wager Rager. Hey, did you hear about the new deal inked by the Phillies? Actually, just one of the Phillies and one needle full of ink. Philadelphia Phillies slugger Bryce Harper recently sat down to get poked by a paint painter, and here's the resulting tattoo. There it is, the beloved local mascot, the Philly Fanatic. And as far as I can read, this is not punishment for coming in last place in his fantasy league. This is just Bryce Harper, after 6 years with the team, finally figuring out he's infatuated with the Philly Fanatic. I don't know. I do know when it comes to marriage or sports affiliations, these ill-advised tattoos hardly ever work out. You don't believe me? Ask the dozens of jabronis walking around with Chiefs three-peat tattoos right now. This one doesn't make sense to me. Bryce Harper hasn't played a full season since 2019. Now he's risking Hep C all because he felt the need to have a permanent rendition of a obese Muppet on his wrist? Going to be a lot of fun in 2030 when he's traded to the Marlins for a minor leaguer to be named later and crypto considerations. Anyway, all this uncertainty leads me to my wager. That is Bryce Harper to hit under 27.5 home runs this year. I just have to do it. As the great Johnny Cochran warned us, unnecessary ink causes numbers to shrink. You don't believe me? Look what happened to the Celtics after Red Auerbach got lucky the leprechaun plastered on his inner thigh. It's true. My poor team has never been the same. Thanks for nothing, Red. That does it for Wager Rager. Time for a break, and when we get back, this Eagle is about to land in Canton, Ohio. Former NFL defensive back Eric Allen joins us when Cousin Sal's winning weekend continues. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's winning weekend. Let's bring in our guest. After being drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, this gentleman stepped right in as a starter and never looked back, unless it was for an interception, which he had at least one of every year of his career, 14 straight seasons. And now look at him. He's about to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. Here he is, Eric Allen. What's happening, Eric?
Hey, what's going on, man? Still floating on clouds a little bit with the news earlier this month, but it's been awesome. And people talk a lot about what it's going to feel like, but you never know, you know? And so it's been like a roller coaster, but it's all been up.
Yeah, don't come down. It doesn't look like you're coming down anytime soon. That smile from ear to ear. You know, I watched the video of you finding out that you were going to be inducted. The other day, the knock on the door came from Randall McDaniel, and you seemed genuinely surprised. Were you surprised or were you acting surprised?
No. I wish I was acting. I'd be in Hollywood or something. Well, about last year, the Hall of Fame called a couple weeks before the Super Bowl to let me know, hey, you didn't make it. We didn't want you waiting around, but you can't tell anybody. So as the process started to get deeper and deeper, and I didn't get a call, I'm thinking, all right, I'm in here. I didn't know that talked to my wife, Lynn, about 10 days before, and she had to come up with this elaborate scheme to why everyone was going to be at the house. She did a great job. We're going to present my granddaughter with an award at school. And so we're all about to walk out the back door, and someone knocks on the front door. And as soon as the knock happened, everything, the whole story, everything that has happened the last 10 days kind of all smacked me in the face. I was like, oh, man. So I looked through the window first, and I see Big Randall and with that gold jacket. And it was just, it was just a feeling that, man, I found my way home.
And I love it, though. I love like the very detailed specifics of it. And would you normally have answered the door, or would you have been like, someone else get the door? I'm busy. I'm texting somebody. I mean, that could have been a weird thing, right?
No,
if you didn't get
it's
the
just
door.
one of those things where, your dad, you're at home, everyone's going one way. And so you're just going to try and hurry and answer that door. And, when you pop that door open, you see Randall, and then you see the crew there. For a moment, I didn't even recognize or acknowledge, the Hall of Fame members. I mean, it was just me and Randall. And you know how when you see one of your good friends, the last time you saw him, it doesn't matter, what it was. You guys always go back to that moment that you guys kind of met, or you guys had those bonds together. And immediately I went back to college with Randall.
A voter told me the week leading up to the inductment, the announcements, that the committee who tallies the votes no longer is telling the voters who won, because I think there was a leak and the inductees weren't surprised when they were informed. And I go two ways with this, because I love the genuine surprise on your face, but also I think if you know ahead of time, this sets up for a really good prank. Like you could walk up to the door nude. What if you entered the door nude? What would happen?
That's right. Along with that, as we were sitting in the house afterwards, you start to have those conversations with Jim and all those wonderful people at the Hall of Fame, and to come to understand that, yes, that was a problem years before. And then having a lot of the players go to the Super Bowl site, and then some of those players not get that knock on the door was, could be a little frustrating. And for some players, it didn't go over too well. And they made it a little bit tougher this year, which, hey, it is what it is, and that's why the class was so small this year, just 4 opposed to 5 or 6.
Well, good for you. You deserve it. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, though. Like if someone's not getting into the Hall of Fame and there's a knock at the door, if it's like the Domino's guy, that guy gets no tip, right? He feels all the brunt of it.
Hands up.
Right. Exactly. All right. So now you're in, and some of the things you have to consider are your bust, right? They make a nice bust of you. Yeah. How much input do you have in terms of how you're going to look?
Oh, man. So the week of the Super Bowl, they fly down, me, my wife, and my 2 boys. I have 4 sons. 2 of them went down. That whole week is filled with those questions. So you have a day where you're just having a luncheon and you're talking to a lot of the Hall of Famers that are there. And then one day you're having the day where you have your jacket size, your ring size, your bust measurement. So they have all that stuff. That's the whole week of the Super Bowl is about. And that's why it was just so fantastic. But yes, I have complete control of what it's going to look like.
Yes, because some of these have gone very, very wrong. I think the key is to get the hair right. It's good that you have input on that, and the teeth. And then, but what's interesting is, like, what if 3 years from now you decide to add a neck tattoo? Will they modify the bust, or whatever you have?
No. And they told me no teeth, because it just doesn't come out right. Because you're thinking, you got the pearly whites, but they're not going to be pearly whites. They're going to be bronze. So
right.
Other than like if you're Michael Strahan and you have the gap in your tooth, will it work? Yeah. But they said, hey, just kind of make sure you choose something that doesn't have a smile.
Yeah, you can't unless you're Strahan or Jack Lambert, who are missing various teeth or spaced out.
Right.
Better off going with the toothless smile. All right. What about the speech? How long are you going to work on this? Are you going to run it through GPT, or is it maybe it comes out on its own? Maybe try that.
That's a great point. So up until now, all the rest of the guys, they really didn't have the opportunity to use Chat GPT, but I won't. I just I'll sit down with the family, and of course, you this is the opportunity. I've done it, right? So this is an opportunity for me to make sure that all those folks who helped pour into the foundation, are mentioned and given their flowers. So that's going to be very important. So, man, I don't know. I don't have a time limit right now.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to still have some words left before they start to play the music and turn the lights off.
I don't know if you ever saw Evening at the Apollo. They used to have a guy come out with a cane and pull out the accent. Yes. Yeah, maybe they hire him for that. Hopefully they don't use him for you. All right, so listen, as if that weekend wasn't exciting enough, then your former team, the Eagles, goes on and wins the Super Bowl. How much did that mean to you with this current team?
It was great. Just perfect timing, icing on the cake as the days before the Super Bowl, being able to walk around New Orleans and on Bourbon Street and all the Philly fans were there and shouting out and just excited, really confident about what happened. And then the game starts. And before the game, I told my wife, I was like, I have like coaching nerves, not like playing nerves, but how you're a coach and you prepare a football team and you just don't know what's going to happen because, I work with the Raiders now and I see, Mahomes twice a year for the last 5 years. And he's just a miracle worker. So you just don't know. But after the first couple series, you just saw the way they put their game plan together on both sides of the ball. It was just a really great opportunity to see a good football team, well coached, great personnel, all have one thing in common, and they were all pulling in the same direction. And that's what you saw right before halftime. It was just pretty much a blowout. So it was exciting to see. Love to see the Eagles and all those young players and old players have that opportunity on the biggest stage in all of sports.
Yeah, speaking of halftime, I'm a gambling man, and I remember looking at halftime to see, all right, who's going to be the MVP of this game? It had gotten out of hand already. And I saw Cooper DeJean was like 7-1. And I was like, wow, he's got an interception. And by the way, you and Cooper, you guys are so very similar. The way you play, the way you look. I might have even thought you were related, the two of you. You probably have very similar busts if they make it to the Hall of Fame. No, but it's very hard for a defensive player. Once the game gets in the 30s and, the 50 total points, it's hard for a defensive player. But he did play lights out, and as did all that whole defense. It was crazy.
Right. Yeah. Here's the one thing that I take on those two young guys is Coop has a knack for making big plays. Q is an amazing cornerback, and neither one of those guys hit the rookie wall. And a lot of that, I think, is because of Darius Slay and how he approaches practice, how he is in the film room. They did a phenomenal job. Howie has a lot of credit to do with how he built that football team.
Yeah. NFL Combine this week. What was it like? Do you have memories of the NFL Combine? Did they have the cones back then where they put the cones down and have you run around or not?
Right. Funny story about this, and everyone's nervous. I mean, it's the underwear Olympics, as we all know. And we get to the Combine, and I'm Allen, so I'm DB1. I have to go first in all these drills. And usually when you go first without any kind of warm-up, you're not going to have a good time. You're not going to do it right because you're still figuring out. I get to the Combine. Guess who is our defensive back coach for our group is Willie Shaw. Willie Shaw had been my defensive back coach at Arizona State. He recruited me. So what was great was every drill we got to, he let me do the drill first untimed. And then, okay, you ready, Eric? So everybody got to see what the drill's about.
Wow.
Okay, now we're going to do it for time. Now go.
Nice. Excellent.
I killed every drill. Because I was able to go through it, memorize it, and then go through it for real. So
it sounds like Willie Shaw is deserving of some of your Hall of Fame recognition. I wouldn't give him the full golden jacket, but maybe the collar, piece of the collar. I don't know how it works. It's interesting.
Stitching. I'll take some stitching from inside.
Right. Give him some stitching. You mentioned the Raiders, and you work with the Raiders. They made a big coaching change this offseason, right? They brought in Pete Carroll. What do you think of that move? It's almost unfortunate how they can't gain any ground. Maybe they can now, but now Denver is a playoff team. The Chargers are going to be better with Harbaugh, probably going to get better, and the Chiefs just don't go away. What do you think of this Pete Carroll move?
I think you're hitting it right on the head. I love Pete. Pete's a phenomenal guy. He's been successful in this league. I have a personal relationship with Pete, kind of know how he likes to build a football team and how he likes to kind of build that foundation and create that team chemistry. And he's well on his way in doing that. What I also love about it is the cupboards were not bare as far as what this football team is trying to do. Antonio Pierce, although record-wise and against some of these coaches in our division wasn't great, I think he started to help build that defensive foundation on that side of football. So when Pete's coming in right now, of course, you have Max Crosby. But the most important thing is when you line up each and every week against your division opponent, and each of those opponents have either won or been to a Super Bowl, I think that means something. And now we have a coach who also has been in that situation. So he's not going to be intimidated by Andy Reid, who I think is the greatest, coach in football. And he's not going to be intimidated by going against Sean Payton. He's not going to be intimidated by going against Jim Harbaugh. And I think that right there says a lot about what this organization is trying to do now. And for the first time in a long time, that this football team is really intact, in line from ownership, GM, and head coach. We just have to find a way to get a quarterback that is going to give us opportunities to win on Sundays.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You need a quarterback, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. And I'm trying to think of the four-ish guys the Raiders are targeting. I would say Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Who's Eric Allen's choice?
Yeah. I think we need a quarterback for right now, because we're not in the business of building for the future without having opportunity to win right now, because you never know when those injuries or those personnel situations, other teams are going to hurt them. So you have to be ready to take advantage of those opportunities. Matt Stafford would be phenomenal for this football team. I think he's still a top 10 quarterback in this league. Of course, Sam Darnold has had an outstanding year. I'm not sure how he fits in a Pete Carroll type of offense. But one thing that I know is Pete is really concerned about the quarterback position and not having the quarterback position be the focal point of the offense.
Jot that down. Eric Allen wants Stafford on the Raiders. Hopefully that makes news. No, that was a good answer. All right, I need another one out of you, Eric. Before we let you go, I have one last question. We call this Cousins Conundrum. Okay? This is not a scenario you've been approached with yet, I'm pretty sure, but here we go. It came from my head, and it's going to be stupid. You are about to get the gold jacket put on you in Canton, Ohio, and a man comes up to you and instead offers you, in exchange for your gold jacket, a golden ticket that gives you $10 million a year for the rest of your life and a chocolate factory. Do you take the deal? Do you give up the Hall of Fame honor?
No. I mean, I'm in that select group that gets to wear the gold jacket, have a bust in Canton, have an area in Canton that people will be able to walk by and see long after I'm gone. And no, I wouldn't trade a ticket or anything for that gold jacket.
I admire your answer, but I think even fewer people own a chocolate factory. If you're really talking about a select group, are you allergic to chocolate? You just don't. I don't know if was that the deal breaker?
I'm a vanilla guy. I have to choose like milkshakes and ice cream. I'm a vanilla dude. So maybe if you would have started off with a vanilla.
We needed to go vanilla factory. I told the producers. Eric Allen, thanks again. Congrats on the upcoming induction into the Hall of Fame, and good luck with that speech. I appreciate your time.
All right, man. Anytime, man. Thank you.
You got it. We'll be right back with the D3 on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. Let's keep things moving and bring in our next guest. I want to clock their 40 time today, but we simply just don't have enough show. They're my wizards of wagering, my gurus of gambling, my barons of betting, my overlords of the odds from the Against All Odds podcast, the D3. Harry, Brother Bry, Darren, the Parlay Kid. What is happening, fellas?
What's going on, Sal?
What's up, bud?
What's going on, buddy?
Well, guys, I just spoke to one of the greats, Eric Allen, who is going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this fall. By the way, that's 2 Eagles in a row I interviewed, and they weren't terrible people. I may have to rethink everything I grew up with. But anyway, it got me thinking, who is the greatest defensive back we have ever seen? I want to go around the horn here. Aside from Eric Allen, of course, he's number one. But who's 2 through 5? Let's start with you, Brother Bry.
Yeah, look, I will say, Sal, Eric Allen was a phenomenal cornerback. He was really great for the Raiders, too, even like 4 of his last years of his career.
It's hard to be great for the Raiders, ever.
Well, he kind of changed the culture there, him and Woodson there, too. So, yeah, another one, Charles Woodson, another great one. But I really can't, I know what you guys are going to say, so I really can't argue with any of your guys, but I'm going to go with Deion, Sal.
Deion Sanders?
I don't even need to say the last name, right? I don't need to say the last name, right?
Yeah.
Look, and when you think of D-backs, right? And I know you're talking cornerback, you're talking safety, but when you think of D-backs, most people think of Deion, right? A 9-time All-Pro, 9 defensive touchdowns while also returning punts and playing some wide receiver. Look, he won back-to-back Super Bowls for the 49ers and the Cowboys and was a huge part of both those teams. And the main thing with Deion, too, right, for a guy who had like 50-something interceptions, teams just did not throw his way, right?
Yeah.
He took away half of the field. And sure, he might not want to tackle at times, but he really dominated more, I think, than any other D-back, cornerback, whatever you want to say, in NFL history.
Yeah, it is the equivalent of Barry Bonds, right? They didn't throw to his side. He still had amazing numbers, but they didn't throw to his side. It's like Bonds getting intentionally walked in that crazy year where he had 73. So, yeah, all right, listen, I can't argue with you. I can't argue with Harry, but let's see, Harry, what do you have?
I got Darrell Green of at the time, the Washington Redskins, where he played 20 years, Sal, and known for his blazing speed. He won 2 Super Bowls with Washington. And he also has records that probably will not be broken in the NFL. Most games played as a corner in the league, 295, and didn't have a pick in his last year in his 20th season, but did have a pick in 19 consecutive seasons. He played a lot of, he returned punts too and had some touchdowns too. A multi-talented player. But again, 20 years in the league. I like Darrell. I'm going with Darrell Green.
All right, that's a long time. Barley Kid, can you beat Darrell Green or Deion Sanders?
Yeah, I think I can. I think I have the most complete cornerback here in Rod Woodson, Sal. No weaknesses from this guy. Created takeaways, 71 interceptions throughout a 17-year career. He was a true shutdown corner, played against every team's number 1 wide receiver. Also, unlike the 2 previous mentioned cornerbacks, made big plays in the run game as well. Also, another great returner. Pro Bowl 11 times at cornerback, transitions to free safety, makes it 4 out of 5 years as a free safety. An unbelievable player, one of the greatest overall players of all time, Rod Woodson.
All right. I appreciate you guys playing, but I have the right answer. It's Ronnie Lott. I mean, I feel like Lawrence Taylor is universally known as the best defensive player. And I think Ronnie Lott is Lawrence Taylor in the secondary. I think he combines the great talent and just toughness, just grit. And, as Cowboys fans, Parlay Kid, we didn't want to play the Niners because of Ronnie Lott. I mean, there was Montana and there was Young and Rice, but Ronnie Lott is right in there in the mix. Brutalization and skill. He was also, like Rod Woodson, corner. He was a corner in that game against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship, the Montana to Clark game, and in that Super Bowl. And then he switched to free safety, Hall of Famer, 14 years, 1,100 tackles, 63 interceptions. And again, like one of the few to end up his career with the Jets, and it didn't ruin him. Although I think he actually ended with the Raiders, Brian, right?
He was solid for
ruin him.
Well, all these guys, look, he was a Raider. Rod Woodson for 1 year was a very good Raider in his 17th year, whatever.
And Eric Allen.
Eric
Wow,
Allen.
that's crazy. And he got his finger amputated and kept playing another decade. That's crazy. 4-time Super Bowl champ, 10-time All-Pro. Best, hardest hitting safety of all time to me. That's my pick. All right, now let's get to betting. And with the Combine taking place in Indianapolis over the next few days, FanDuel has us covered. They have, so the D linemen and linebackers went yesterday, the D-backs and tight ends today. Tomorrow's the fun one, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and then on Sunday, offensive linemen. They have to skip church and audition for the league. So let's go over these odds that FanDuel has. They have that every category will be broken. The 3 cups, whatever it is, the 3 cones. They have bench press will be broken. Will the 40 be broken? Let's start. We're all over the 40-yard dash. Parlay Kid, let's hit us with, I think this is the favorite to be the fastest in the 40.
He is. Aaron Smith from Georgia here, Sal, to be the fastest in the 40. It makes sense. He was a nationally ranked track athlete. He was actually an All-American track athlete at Georgia, ran a 10.10 in the 100-meter. That beats the likes of what Worthy did in the 100-meter run, what Bond here, who's one of the favorites here too, did in the 100-meter run. And as a track coach myself, these guys who know how to start out of the gate always have the best times.
Interesting. Okay, Harry, let's go to you next.
I got Aronde Gadsden, Sal, the second from my Syracuse Orange. Yeah, 6'4", 235. Great pedigree, too. He smashed all his dad's records at Syracuse 2 to 3 years ago. He was a wide receiver and switched over to tight end. Plus, in high school in Florida, Darren, he was a tremendous track and field runner there, too. I got Gadsden. I'm clocking him at 4.5. Best tight end in the field.
Bri, you have for running back.
I'm going to go with Jaden Blue to have the fastest 40 time as a running back at 1100 plus 1100. Blue is a guy, right, a former high school track guy, like a lot of these guys are, but he's already run about a 4.45. Some think he may run in the 4.3s. As a running back, if he gets into the 4.3s, he will have a real shot to win.
Very good. It's much better than plus 130, which is where I'm going with Isaiah Bond. Parlay Kid mentioned him. Jaden Blue's teammate there at a Texas wide receiver, played at Alabama, then transferred 5'11", 180, just like Tyreek Hill without the handcuffs. Ran a 4.32 in the offseason last year. Should be even faster. As a junior in high school, Parlay Kid mentioned he did a 10.5 in the 100 meters and 21.19 in the 200, got titles for both in the state. All right, let's move over to baseball. We love baseball. Spring training's underway, and the Yankees made some big moves. The Parlay Kid, Brother Bry, big Yankee fans. Maybe not as much to their roster, although they did nice things with their roster, but they also changed their facial hair policy. Now beards galore, and that's not it. They're no longer going to be playing Frank Sinatra's New York, New York after home losses. So Hal Steinbrenner is really shaking up the franchise. And they got the make-believe riverboat captain, our friend, thinking he, by the way, no disrespect to all the Yankee captains, but he really is the best captain out there. He's posing a great question. What other traditions should the Yankees change? And you could bet on this. Is it no names on jerseys, 2-1 odds? YMCA dance by the grounds crew, 5-1 odds? Bleacher creature roll call, 20-1 odds? Bring back Costanza, 150-1 odds, or the field at even. Parlay Kid, your team, you have the floor. You go first. What do you want them to change?
Yeah, let's start getting rid of that YMCA there by the grounds crew. So started in 1996 at the home opener when it was snowing out. I guess the grounds crew, to entertain the fans during their misery, decided to do a little dance along while they were raking the fields to the song YMCA. 1996 with 2025 now. So the last time I went to a game, they're still doing it, but it almost seems more like a chore than it used to, Sal. It's time for those guys to pack that in. Maybe start something new, Sal. It's past its prime.
Okay. Well, sweeping the dirt seems like a chore too. But do they take the rakes and go like this with the YMCA? Because you have to do that.
They drop it and then
they do.
All
right.
Yes,
no. They may have trouble with Washington if that gets out. All right, Bri, you're a Yankee fan. What do you want to see?
Well, I mean, part of me agrees with Darren here. The Yankees were smart enough years ago to get rid of the Macarena. They got rid of that. They got rid of Cotton Eye Joe. I think it makes sense here to get rid of the YMCA. But Sal, I'm going to say get rid of, I know people like this when they go to the game, and we all kind of pay attention to it on the Jumbotron, but can we please get rid of the subway race? Like, how long can we keep doing this, the subway car races, the 4 versus the D versus the B? It's getting boring, right? What you always see on those two is like, the subway car that's in last right before the end is the one that always ends up winning miraculously out of nowhere. Look, and nobody even wants to be on a subway anymore, right? Nobody wants to ride the subways. So let's have some more fun for the kids. Let's get rid of this damn subway race.
All right, Harry. Traditions the Yankees should change. What do you have?
Yeah, at 2-1, Sal, I'm going to go the no names on jerseys. I know it's a little smug with the Yankees. They don't put the names on because they don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to because it's the Yankees. But if they're going to go with beards now, Put the names on the back of the jerseys too. Come on, do it.
Can I say I hate that idea? If the Yankees ever went to names, I
Really?
would, I would have a,
Wow.
You don't want to know these people?
Well, no, but look, when I go to a Yankee game, if
Yeah.
you are a fellow adult Yankee fan and you have a Yankee jersey with the name on top of it, that bothers
I see.
the hell out of me. First of all, look, if you
Wow, you're getting an applaud from
Yeah,
Baby
well,
Dog, who
look,
hated your cornerback pick. But
look, if you want to
still
do
likes this.
if
Okay.
you want to do an alternate jersey or something one time with the name on it, totally fine with that. Something for the kids, that's fine. But I do not want the names.
See,
ever.
this is your being smug. Parlay Kid, I have a feeling you agree with Brian.
100% agree. I think the Yankees will never change that. That's going to be a hard, fast rule for them for
Okay.
sure. You don't need the name. First of all, if you're a true fan, you know who the player is anyway. You don't need the name on the back of the
Little
jersey.
smug,
to know
Darren.
who it
Little
is.
smug. Little
Yeah.
smug.
It's not smug. That's not a smug thing.
Well, now they're not going to have any number. Should they take the numbers off too and grow like long beards so they're completely unrecognizable?
I mean, Brian's as quiet as it can be. This gets him fired up. Wow.
He's
Oh,
very
I
mad.
hate it. I hate it.
All right, I'm going to go field here. The bullpen car. Remember the bullpen car, Parlay Kid?
Loved it.
I did some research on the bullpen car.
Oh.
In 1976, it was a pinstripe Datsun, and then 1977
Toyota, right?
moved to a Toyota Celica.
Loved it.
It's a nice visual. They would bring the relief pitcher in, right? I bet the grounds crew didn't love it because it probably effed up the field if it rained or was soggy or something. But gas is really cheap now, so now's the time to bring it back. But there's a great story about Rich Gossage, who had blown a save the night before or something, and then comes in the bullpen car. And it was getting so much garbage thrown at it that he wouldn't come out of the car for like a good minute and a half. He had to wait till the fans ran out of garbage before he exited the car. So where would it drive up to? It wouldn't drive up to the mound, right? It would just go down by the dugout?
Yeah, it would go probably on the dirt warning track, right? Come around, and
Yes.
then probably right to like around the dugout area. I could be right
That's
before it, right?
That's right.
Pretty cool.
All right.
That was cool.
I like it. Bring it back. All right, your move, Yankees. I'd recommend maybe all those changes. Time for another quick break. When we get back, hey, almost March, and we're going to begin the madness. We'll offer up our top seed parlays. Plus, we'll roll out the red carpet for our best Oscars pick. That's next on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend here with the D3. Today is the last day of February, which means March Madness is nearly here. Harry and I will be in Vegas for the opening round of the tournament, along with Tate Frazier and comedian Brett Ernst. If you're in the Las Vegas area on March 20th and 21st, we'll be at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club watching games. It's a watch party sponsored by Splash Sports. We're going to do a trivia challenge for some great prizes, like real prize, like $1,000. And if you're lucky, Harry, I'm sure at some point, will pull you aside for 3 hours and tell you his feelings about how bad a coach Matt Painter is. So, good times. Now, Selection Sunday, not for a couple more weeks, but FanDuel is already letting us put together one-seed parlays. Good enough for me. They took two teams out of there. They took a lot of teams out of there, let's be honest. But they took Duke out and they took Auburn out because it's a foregone conclusion that those two teams will have one seeds. You could start at Houston at minus 550, then Alabama minus 125, Florida plus 120 to make a one seed, and Tennessee plus 210. Harry, let's start with you. Which of those do you like, or do you like a parlay? How are we going to do this?
I do like Todd Golden's Florida Gators. I know they just lost to Georgia the other night on the road, but 24-4. They played a tremendous non-conference schedule. Team averages 84 points a game. Excellent guard play in Clayton and Martin. And I know later in this week, they play Alabama in Tuscaloosa in a big one. But I think they might pull that game out. And plus, in the SEC tournament, I think they can make a run there, get to be able to be a number one seed.
Well, let's go to Parlay Kid because he has a single, and then you and I, Bri, have parlays. Yeah.
So I'm going to be taking Bama as a single here, Sal, to be a first seed. So right now, in every source, in every publication, they are a one seed and number 3 overall.
Right.
And basically almost 100% of the sources. Now, the fact is that over these course of the last 3 games, they have a tough slate at Tennessee, home versus Florida, at Auburn. But from what I've read, 2 out of 3 wins right there is all but going to guarantee them a one seed.
I am going to go with a parlay. Brian, you have a parlay. I'm going to go Florida and Tennessee at plus 582. So for that to happen, Houston will have to be knocked out,
Yep.
right? It leaves 2 slots. Right now, Houston has one of them. They had a good win over Texas Tech. Good job by you. Parlay Kid picking that one, even though it was on the wrong day. But I think 1 or 2 more losses from now until Selection Sunday bumps them from the 1 line. They should beat Cincy. Then they're home for Kansas and at Baylor, both teams that need to win. Or if they lose in the Big 12 tourney, they're knocked off. At that point, I think you pick 2 teams. Mine are Tennessee and Florida right there. I'm going to take the Gators and the Vols. Bri, take it away. What the hell?
Well, look, I'm doing something very similar, Sal. I'm taking Florida and Bama on a parlay for the 1 seeds at plus 290. And look, man, it's amazing, right? That SEC football, right? Falling down a little bit. The SEC in basketball is a complete powerhouse right now. You have 4 SEC teams, four teams right now vying for a 1 seed, which is crazy. All are deserving right now, and a lot of that, like you said, could be dependent upon who wins the conference tournament. But when you look at Florida, one thing Harry didn't mention too is like Florida at 2 separate times beat the number 1 team in the country. You have to think about that a little bit here. Now they do have a tough remaining slate, but again, this is one of those if they can pick up, probably if they can win one of these here, they might sneak in to a 1 seed. And then again, maybe if you win a couple games in the tournament, potentially you could get a 1 seed. And then Bama, on the other hand, even though currently they're ranked 6th, but they do have the head-to-head win over Houston, right? So again, if Bama and Florida are going to make it, they're going to have to knock Houston out of that line. But Bama does have the head-to-head over Houston.
Who do you like if you have to pick one, Bama or Florida?
Bama.
Really? Okay. So Harry,
Bama's home versus Florida too.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Right. I guess I'm putting too much emphasis on the tournament, which I don't feel like they do anymore. But all right, we'll take a look. Either way, join us March 20th, 21st, Las Vegas. Me, Harry, Tate, Brett Ernst. Probably another surprise too. I can't say right now. And I'm also going to have through Splash Sports a $50,000 eliminator contest, which will be fun. They'll have $1 million contest. Mine will be for less. All right. Now I checked. And unfortunately, there's no Sunday Night Football this week, but it's being replaced by another big betting event, the 97th Academy Awards. Let's give the people what they may or may not want and give out our picks here. So Conan O'Brien is hosting. He's going to do a great job. I'm looking at Best Picture, Parlay Kid. Honora minus 200, Conclave plus 240, The Brutalist plus 700. Those are the top 3. I'll let you shoot first. I think we differ on we have differing opinions on who's going to take this.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm a pretty big movie buff. See a lot of movies. Haven't seen the one I'm going to talk about, however. Just a little tad too long for me. But I don't know. Movies just don't seem to be what they used to be. So you're a Hollywood guy. Can you do something about that?
Oh, my God. Sure
Come on,
I am.
do something about it. Will you please?
All right. Babyface, write that down. We have to do something about it.
Do something about it. Yeah. Well, so I'm going to take in The Brutalist at plus 700 here. So it's won a lot of technical awards so far in these preseason Oscar type of things, which is always a good indicator of maybe how well it's going to perform come Oscar time. Okay, brutalism, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's a form of architecture that's of concrete, et cetera, et cetera. It's more about functionality than aesthetics. And I guess Adrian Brody plays a character that is a Holocaust survivor. And it's a movie about power, family. And it's extra long, which the voters always love these like 3+ hour movies.
It is very long.
It is very long. But Sal, at plus 700, we're getting really good odds here. Adrian Brody, it's a great cast. Brody, better known for his portrayal as Pat Riley in Winning Time.
Yeah.
Does an excellent job. But The Brutalist plus 700, Sal, it's worth a shot because it really has everything that the voters look for in a movie.
I talked to what she wanted to see this in the movies, the wife, and I was like, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. I can't do it. This is a 3-nighter. We got to buy it at home. I know it's $19.95 on YouTube or Amazon, whatever we're doing it. We just have to tough it out. We are halfway through. We actually got through an hour and 40 of it. It was that good. So we're going to watch the second half tonight. It's very good. The first hour, it is tough, Parlay Kid, negotiating the fact that Pat Riley is a Holocaust survivor. But yes, the rest of the first half of the movie is good. Conclave, also good, and I'm picking that at plus 240. It's about choosing a new pope, Parlay Kid. You like this one. The pope dies. Conclave won the BAFTA and the SAG Awards. Those are really good indicators. The knock on this movie is that the director is not nominated. Unlike The Brutalist, unlike Anora, the director is not nominated. So that would mean this would be the 8th time in 98 years where a director is not nominated, but the film wins for Best Picture. Kind of appeals to what's going on today. Lots of discussion about old school rule versus inclusion. I don't want to ruin the ending. I think there'll be a sentimental lean here. Not to mention the real Pope Francis is very ill right now. So I don't know if that's part of the campaign or he really happens to be sick, but I can't be sure. But it's a solid movie, plus 240. I think he gets the edge over Honora. All right. Brother Bry, Timothy Chalamet, a complete unknown, not a complete unknown on the charts here. He's plus 150. He's not the favorite Adrian Brody is for Best Actor.
Yeah, I really like Timothy Chalamet here, plus 150 for Best Actor for a complete unknown. And like you were saying with Adrian Brody, I think it's a toss-up here. So I think you get some value with Chalamet. Look, he recently won the SAG Award for Best Actor. He seems like the hot guy right now, right? Just in general, Chalamet's, trending all the time. And I know Brutalist was good, but just not necessarily a ton of buzz. And Sal, you had mentioned this too before. I think, 6 of the last 7 SAG winners here in this category won the Oscars.
Yeah.
And look, even though I understand Kendrick Lamar's lyrics more than Bob Dylan's, I will say I think Chalamet did a really good job in this role. I mean, he sang the part well. I mean, maybe a lot of people can do that type of voice about Bob Dylan, but I thought a plus 150, I like him here.
Yeah, these are the ones that win. The plus 150s are the upsets. You don't see a lot of 20-to-1s ever in Oscars. Harry, should we even go to you? I know you haven't seen any of the Oscar winners. Have you seen an Oscar winner since like Chariots of Fire? I'm trying to think of one you
No way.
I never saw that either.
Okay. All right. So what are you going with here?
Put it this way. Look, in 2024, I was all over the world. So I thought maybe I go with Best International Feature here. I'm still here. It's minus 200 the favorite, but I'm going to go with Amelia Perez at plus 125. Very interesting storyline here. I do want to watch this. It's about a Mexican cartel leader who just disappears so he can transition into a woman. Now, there's a storyline that hasn't ever happened. Plus 125.
You don't know that. You don't know that that's never happened. What do you? Okay.
I'm
sure you are a world traveler. So if anyone knows, it's you. All right. So there you go, fellas. Thanks so much. Enjoy the Combine. Enjoy the Oscars and whatever else you're betting on this weekend. We're going to be right back to wrap things up. All right, we're all out of time. My thanks again to the new Hall of Famer Eric Allen. I am almost willing to forgive him for all those great games against the Cowboys, and to my Hall of Fame friends at D3 who won't get gold jackets, but I will consider getting them gold-toed socks. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening, and please always remember, you may feel like an underdog, but just know you're all my favorites. Happy handicapping!